everybody, this is Phil, and we're heading up to Charlestown, and it's just a beautiful day, and I just thought I'd bring you all along. I might have to turn on some ventilation here because it is a little bit warm today, but it is a beautiful day. I got a repair on the windshield. I hope that's not in the screen. I had a rock smack the window, and I started working on it today, and boy, it exploded. It actually went an inch in both directions, up at a diagonal in the windshield. So I tried to use a window kit that I had, which is, they've got this kit that you put like, it's got a plunger on it, and it's like got a screw in the middle of it, and you put the solution, you put this fixture on the windshield after you clean it with alcohol, and then you put this fixture on the windshield. It has a hole in the middle of it. It's like a screw, like a plastic screw with a hole in the middle of it. And then you put the solution in the middle of this screw, and then you put a smaller screw inside the top of it, and it forces it down into the windshield, into the hole you hope. And unfortunately, it didn't work out that way for me. And man, oh man, if I got a mess on my windshield, it's just outside of the picture what you're what you're seeing. I got a great big X of duct tape on the top, and I got two big pieces of duct tape over the crease in the windshield on the bottom, and I'm hoping I can get I did put super glue on the top of it, so that hopefully it will work its way down into into where the crack is and support it. But I'm not feeling too confident that that's going to work. But yeah, we'll see. It's an old windshield, and it's about time I replace it anyway, because there's a lot of pepper shot. I call it pepper shots, where the sand hits it, and you get this when the sun shines directly at it. It creates a problem. Now, if the windshield looks really clear, I will just wipe this windshield with that Rain-X 3-in-1. It's a window cleaner, and it's something else, and it's a rain repellent 3-in-1. And I used that in another video. You saw that where I cleaned the side window of my work truck and cleaned the mirror, because the mirrors were not shedding water, and it was driving me crazy. I was like, man, I got to be able to see what's in my lane beside me. So it did a real nice job on the windshield. I'm real happy with that stuff. I'm going to be using that. Now, I don't want to use a treatment on my front window, but I will use a treatment on my side windows. I use the cleaner, the 3-in-1 cleaner. I use that on my front of my window. But I've had a problem with the Rain-X, the main treatment, where you put it on, you let it dry, and then you wipe it off, because when the windshield wiper goes across it, it puts a smear, and you get this kind of blue smear in the rain. I just don't like that. But all the other Rain-X products have worked great for me. I use the Rain-X windshield washer fluid. I use that all the time. It's 20 degrees below zero. It's orange, so it's different than any of the other ones. The blue ones you got to be real careful about, because the blue ones are supposed to be 20 below, but during the summer months, some Walmarts sell the down to freezing, and if that stays in your car, it can break your windshield washer system, because what it'll do is it'll freeze and it'll crack the reservoir. Or if there's some in the pump, and there's some in the lines, oh, it can cause all kinds of problems, all kinds of damage. So I always use the orange Rain-X. It's a little more expensive, but it really does work. And what it does do, I firmly believe it helps your windshield washer, your windshield wipers last longer. I mean, that's another thing too. What you need to do, or what I always do, is when I clean my window, I take the rag I'm using and I put some spray on it, and I run my rag down the wiper blade. And what that does is that takes the grit that gets ground into the rubber of the wiper and wipes it off. So, because those wipers, if they get dirty and they're going backwards and forwards, they're not self-cleaning. And what they'll do is they'll start scratching, and you'll get this very light scratching sheen across the windshield that won't come out, because once that goes in the window, it's over. Because it's essentially, you know, the grit is like fine diamonds, and it really does a number on windows. So anyway, but it's a beautiful day down here in Fredericksburg, and as you can see, the roads are busy, people are out. It's probably the nicest day we've had since the beginning of the year, and I want to thank the good Lord for keeping me healthy and safe. I'm in the process of buying a Camry, a Toyota Camry. I don't know where I'm going to get it from, but I'm looking. I was hoping to buy a motorcycle, but it's the people around here just drive too crazy. They just drive too crazy. I cannot let someone crush my body to pieces because they're on their phone, or because they're angry, or because they think all motorcyclists are bad people, or because they're just pissed off. I gotta have a car around me, and so I gotta. And as much as I would love to own a Corolla, every Corolla I see has had the shit beat out of it. Same thing with Honda Civics. I got 2 cups of my home tea with me. I was having a problem with the home tea. It was getting thick. I had it in the refrigerator, and I like it when it's cold. But it was getting thick, and I was like, what the hell's going on? And what I traced the problem back to was I had these old plain white paper filters. It's bleached paper, and they're the cheapest ones you can buy. And I've had them for probably 7-8 years. But I also had these natural brown Melita coffee filters. Those are the ones I've always used, and I never had a problem with those. And as soon as I ran out of those and I started using the white plain bleached filters, my tea, the quality of my tea went to hell. And I also wondered if refrigerating my teas and holding my teas too long, because I wasn't holding them but for 2.5 days. But boy, they really got nasty. I don't like drinking stuff that's got a viscosity to it. I want something that's a tea to be liquid. And after I went back, I went and got the Melita natural brown paper coffee filters. And as an extra step, I said, you know what? I'm going to leave the teas out as long as the house stays, below 80. I'm going to leave the teas out. I'm not going to refrigerate them. And that fixed it. And the teas have been awesome ever since. Now, normally I would be in the right lane humming, but I'm just not. I got a feeling about my luck lately that my luck is going to go real bad if I try to push anything. And so I'm not going to push anything. I'm going to stay here and be nice and comfortable. I'm really looking forward to whatever Camry I choose to buy. I had a blue Toyota Camry with a 5-speed transmission one time that I bought. This is back when my wife was still alive, and I went ahead and I took and I got it for her because getting into this Honda was a real problem for her because the seats sit real low. It's like a sports car. And she had a real problem lifting her legs up and stuff. And God darn it, if I had to go over again, as soon as she started having problems with her legs, we'd have gone to a blood clot doctor. And she probably would have died right away because as soon as she went on Pradaxa, it pretty much killed her. But another part of that was the vaccine just obliterated her body. But she had a problem raising her legs up into the car. And I bought the Camry because it was easier to get in and out of. And the 5-speed, I really loved the 5-speed. The car was a go-getter, man, but I wasn't really concerned about that. I just liked the fact that it got like 34 miles to the gallon. But I didn't know there was a manufacturer flaw in the Toyota Camry that year, the 5-speed manual transmission. And the manufacturer's flaw was that the throwout bearing in the transmission, which every manual transmission has what's called a throwout bearing, and what it does is it slides on the shaft. When you push your foot down on the clutch, there's a fork. The fork presses on this throwout bearing and it moves forward, and this bearing spins, and what it is the motor's spinning. And what it is there's these forks on the clutch, and it disengages the clutch from the engine so you can change gears. Well, in that year Toyota Camry, the throwout bearing would rust and then it would seize onto the shaft that it rides on. And then it would bend because the clutch fork is hydraulically operated, which means that it multiplies the force on the fork, so that for every pound that you put your foot down, it puts like 10 pounds down on the fork. It would bend the clutch fork, and when it bent the clutch fork, it would not fully disengage the clutch, and then you couldn't change gears. It wouldn't go in and out of gear, and it was really frustrating. And boy, getting that change was a nightmare. I worked on it myself. I didn't know what the problem was. I put about $300 worth of parts in it, and then I took it to a Toyota dealer up in Chantilly, Virginia, and their mechanic royally screwed me over. He worked on the car, and he did fix the transmission, but he had manual transmission fluid all over his shoes and on his hands, and he sat in my car and filthed it up. I mean, that car was beautiful inside before it went in there. And when it came out, there was manual transmission fluid in the carpet, in the front of the car, and there was handprints on the seat, and on the gear shift, and on the steering wheel. But the thing that pissed me off the most was, now this was all during the time my wife was sick, so I wasn't really pushing the issue because the most important thing to me was to have the car back. I didn't have time to play games with these people and say, I need 3 days, I need it back in 3 days cleaned up. Because I just didn't trust this guy, because if he'll do this to me once, if I complain, he'll destroy the car. Well, I didn't have to worry about that because that Toyota dealership had a 16-year-old kid that must have been the son of somebody who worked there who was moving the cars, and he didn't know how to drive a manual transmission. And I was outside the front of the dealership for about 15 minutes. I said, what's going on here? Because they said, your car will be right around, sir. I said, you know what? I better go back behind here. That's that voice. That's the good Lord looking after me. And my guardian angel said, Phil, you got to go around here and look at your car, see what's going on. So I walked around the back of the dealership, and I went behind where the cars were parked outside of the mechanics bay, and there it was. And it was about halfway out of the parking spot, and there was two like 14-year-old kids standing next to the open door of the car, and the 16-year-old kid was inside the car frustrated as hell because he didn't know how to drive a manual transmission, and he didn't go get nobody. So he had been tearing up my fucking car for about 15 fucking minutes, and my beautiful H-gate transmission that shifted like a brand new car when I bought it was now, I could tell there was a lot of wear in that H-gate. If you ever drove in a transmission, you know what I'm talking about. There is a pattern, and if the transmission's been taken care of and treated gently, that pattern stays in whatever pattern it is, which is like with a 5-speed, it's like an H times H and a half, which is 6 slots. And this kid, God bless him, he was working there. His dad was probably yelling at him, you know, I'll get you the job, but you better do good. And he was doing the best he could, but he kind of fucked my car up. So I got in the car. I couldn't believe how dirty it was inside. The only thing I was concerned about was getting home to my wife. So I got home to my wife, and I took some Resolve, and I did the best I could to clean the inside of the car out. I cleaned everything out. I never called the dealership. I said, you know what? I'll never go there again. I'll be very careful about ever going to any dealership again. It was $3,400 to put a new clutch, throw-out bearing, a new hydraulic thing for the clutch, and just to recheck everything. $3,400 to get my car fucked up. And it shifted better than it did when it went in there, but it was never the same after that. And I wound up in a hurry to work one day, and it was the same thing that happened with this red car. I was in the left lane up by Garrisonville heading north, and it was raining, and I had slowed down and stopped, and for some reason, man, I was really nervous that day. And I stopped in the right lane, and you got to understand up there, it's 85 miles an hour in the left-hand lane. And we weren't going that fast that day. We were going probably around 70, between 75 and 80, and we all slowed down to dead stop. And I heard this tire squealing behind me, and this guy almost got me. I mean, I could see him coming. I was just holding my breath. I said, oh my God, he's going to hit me. And he stopped right at the back of my car. And I freaked out. I kind of freaked out. And I cars were going by us. I mean, we're stopped, dead stopped in the left-hand lanes. The cars were going by us at 80 miles an hour. I said, man, this is going to happen again. The guy who almost hit me got around me, and I looked in my mirrors. I finally got a hold of the traffic. I pushed my foot in the clutch, and I guess the car drifted forward. The guy in front of me stopped again, and I didn't see it. I was so concentrating on my mirrors because I didn't want to drive out in front of somebody and cause a hell of an accident, you know? And I pulled my clutch out. I saw it open and pulled my clutch out, and I drove right in front and right in the back of the guy in front of me. The guy was driving a Hyundai Sonata. And we both pulled over. And I apologized to him. I said, God darn it, I am so sorry. I guess I must have coasted forward into you, sir. He said, look, don't worry about it. He goes, I pulled my insurance out. He says, hey, I got Geico too. And he was kind of laughing. He says, look, I'm just going to take the day off. Screw it. I'm not worried about it. That guy was cool as hell. And my car, my Toyota, was totaled. I didn't know that, but the cost to repair it was more than it was worth. And the biggest thing that happened to it, and this is something I'll give you some information here right away. I did not know that my radiator was punctured, but my radiator was punctured. And I drove away from that accident And I drove that car for about 5 miles, and my temperature gauge never got off of cold. And I was like going, that's kind of strange. What the hell is that? And I smelled a smell, which I know that smell, and that smells extreme heat. I said, what the hell's going on? So, get past this guy. It's like everything else, you know, nobody wants to go until you get up to them, and then all of a sudden they've got to get in front of you. But, so I pulled over and I pulled the hood up and I smelled it. Right away I knew what it was. I said, Jesus Christ, man, is this thing got no water in the radiator? And I took I took a rag real careful and I opened the radiator, and only steam came out, and not a lot. But man, the smell was unbelievable. And I don't think I had anything. I don't know if I put any water in it or not. I think I might have put like a couple of bottles of water in it. But all it did was boil. All it did was pop like metal breaking. And I said, oh no, this engine's ruined, man. So I got some fluid in it and drove it down to a gas station another couple of miles where I could actually put some water in it. And man, the sound that came out of it, that motor was ruined. There's no way that motor survived that. Now I use Castrol synthetic oil in my engines, and that's supposed to be good for extreme high heat. But I knew after that motor would probably burn oil like a sieve, even if it could be fixed. But my warning to you is this: if you get into even a minor car accident, please check your radiator. You know, please make sure your radiator is not leaking. And when I wrecked this car this last time, I made sure about that. I said, you know, I learned my lesson before. If this thing's leaking, I got to fix it. And it did not leak all the way home. It got me all the way home, and I drove it down to the auto parts store down below me. I drove it back, and then I noticed that it was in fact leaking. I said, "Oh no!" And because if it was not leaking, but it was bent like crazy. But if it was not leaking, I was just going to drive it. I was like, you know what? I'll bend everything straight, and we'll go from there with it. But it was leaking, and I did have to buy a radiator. But thankfully, I was keeping an eye on it. And that's what I want to say is, even in your regular car, you should keep an eye on that. Keep an eye on your coolant level, keep an eye on your oil level, keep an eye on your brake fluid level. And modern cars do not, if they're well maintained, they don't eat oil, they don't eat coolant, and they don't use brake fluid. And if your car is doing that, there's a problem. So you need to keep an eye on it. Now, if your car's got like 250,000 miles on it and it's burning a quart of oil every 3,000 miles, you just put a quart of oil in there every 3,000 miles. But I would recommend this to everyone. Never, ever make the mistake of thinking that because your car is burning oil that represents an oil change, because it doesn't. Because every time you change an oil, grit and filth and dirt comes out of your crankcase that the engine has made. And it cleans out your oil system so your engine can stay healthy. And that's why you always change the oil, even in an oil burner, you change the oil. And then you put your oil back in that you're going to use. Obviously, if you're like, this engine runs a 520 oil. And this was something that I learned. I've been sort of studying oils in the last couple of years, especially in reference to older engines and, you know, changing oils up in viscosity. You want to stay with the oil that your engine was made to run. don't start changing, like going to, some people say, oh, you need to run a straight 30 weight, or you need to run a, like this is a 520, you need to run a 1030, or you need to run a 1050. Nah, run the 520. And as it burns it out, you replace it with more 520. Now, with an engine like this, I could go to a 1030 because it says it right in the book. But you got to be real careful now, because the thing to remember, the reason for the 5-weight oil, and this was something that all the manufacturers found out, is the number one wear cycle of all engines is when they first crank up. That first 5 minutes when they're cold, that's when they wear the most. And that's why they went to the lightweight motor oil, because the lightweight motor oil moves. It moves instantly to the parts. It doesn't let the parts run dry. And that's why you see the OW20, that's actually an even more modern oil designed for engines. It's actually designed for fuel efficiency, because viscosity equals resistance. So if you have a high viscosity oil, it takes a lot more horsepower and a lot more pump power to push it. And that translates to more effort, which translates to less gas mileage. So whatever your engine's meant to run that oil, and run the best oil you can afford to put in it. I always put in, my dad used castor oil, my uncles used castor oil, and when the synthetic came out, we all went to the synthetic, and it's always been a good oil for us. I tried Mobil 1, and I know people who swear by it, but for me, the castor oils work very good, and I've been real happy with that. I need to back off of his truck a little bit, because he looks like he's going to want to get around these cars. And this clown in front of me, he's running a block. He's blocking the road. So I got to back off here. I don't want to be next to this truck. See, he's backing off now. He's actually backing off of the silver Cadillac up there. He's backing off of the silver Cadillac. He's backing up towards me. He's doing 60 miles an hour, which the speed limit is 55. So you can't. You can't give somebody grief for that. You know, if you're going to do the speed limit, the speed limit is the speed limit. And God bless them. Every person who did the speed limit when I was a kid, I used to make fun of, and now they're my heroes, because they got their licenses and never lost it, and they, as a general rule, never had accidents. And try not to quarter. I don't want to get right on the quarter end of this guy, but I'm gonna have to get past him. I gotta get past him. I don't like running beside 18-wheelers. It's something my dad told me when I was, he said, Phil, just don't run next to them. Get up where they can see you. And if they got to make a move, if you're in front of them or behind them and you leave the room, they can make a move. Because you never know what's going to happen. You never know if an animal's going to run out in the road. You never know if a kid's going to run out in the road. You just never know what's going to happen. My pop was pretty good at, even though he's crazy as bad shit behind the wheel, he was good at seeing problems. Now see, I backed off of this guy and he sped up. Now he's doing 67. But if I was to get up behind him, he'd slow down again. This drives me crazy, because that's the thing that gets me about people that do this kind of stuff is, if you try, now see, he's slowing down next to the black truck now. Now he's down to 62. He's intentionally blocking the road with his car. Now he's down to 60. See? Let's see if he can get clear of that black truck at all. If he gives me half an opening, my ass is gone. That's it. We're out of here. sucker was blocking the... Man, that kind of shit pisses me off. If you're gonna go, go. If not, get over. You know? God darn. Unreal. Anyway, sorry for the filthy language, but you know me, I do have a tendency to cuss. But we're just having a nice little chilling little ride. I don't want to get a ticket, but you know, there's a limit to what, you know, stupidity I can deal with. And it was stupid what I just did, because if I went around the corner and a cop came, he's 100% justified in pulling me over. And I never got over 70 miles an hour when I passed him. No, I did not. Oh, man. It feels good to not be behind that guy. There's a guy, he's blocking another guy up. He's driving insane. I just saw this guy's lights flashed like 3 times here. He's got looks like he's got a deer head in the back of his truck here. Or he's got maybe they might have shot a deer. I see a set of antlers in the back of this guy's truck. Might we go and get him some venison? They go, see, now look at that. See that? He knows I want to come through. He gets out the way. That is awesome. Yeah, that's a deer head. He might have a deer in the back. Beautiful rack. See, that's exactly how I act right there. If I'm not going to be running, I'll get the hell out your way. You know? But, you know, I mean, come on, folks. We got to work together here, you know? That guy was just being a dick, the guy in the little car. Up to 67, down to 60. Up to 67, down to 60. Anyway. I hope y'all having a great day. I'm doing pretty good, actually. I gave my neighbor, my cat's health is doing much better. I finally found a dry food she can eat that won't make her want to lick her skin off. And the applause food is pretty good for her. She's pretty happy. And I'm very thankful to the good Lord for that. I will say this, Purina and Blue, I don't know what the fuck you're putting in your food, but it's unacceptable. That's unacceptable. You know? I mean, honestly, there are some YouTubers, when I ran into this problem with my cat, and she started licking her fur off. I was like, what the hell's going on? And she was getting these big, like scabs in her ears, and she got a spot on her belly where her skin was breaking out. And I was like, what the hell's causing this? And then it dawned on me. I said, you know what? I'll bet you it's the damn food. And it was. I was feeding her Purina Fancy Feast. And I was feeding her Blue dry food. And as soon as I got her backed off of that, all those symptoms started going away. And even Applause dry food would make her skin break out. I'm like, going, what the hell is this? But I found this other cat food that I got from a giant food store. And I just got it because it was on sale and it was a premium dry food. I said, you know, I'll try this. And if she doesn't like this, I'll give this dry food to my neighbor he feeds stray cats. We got a bunch of stray cats in our neighborhood, which are actually kind of a joy to have, because they kill the little voles in the ground. They kill anything. They keep the rabbits under control. And everybody says, you know, oh, they're killing the rabbits. Yeah, but you know, rabbits are actually a kind of a vermin. And if you let them go crazy, they'll eat everything out of every garden in the area. They'll kill foliage you don't want to see get killed. They're not a harmless species. And we still got squirrels and we still got birds, so the cats aren't killing all of them. You know what, there's a long line of traffic in front of us, and this is a 45-mile-an-hour speed zone. And this is one thing I will tell everybody who comes to Virginia. These 45 mile an hour speed zones, Virginia police, they mean business about them. They'll let you get away with 70 in a 55 pretty much. Well, I wouldn't say 70, but I would say 65, 67 in a 55. But when it comes to a 45, you better be doing no more than 10 over, because at 56, they're gonna start looking at you. And if you're hooking it, if you're doing 60 in a 45, that's a ticket. And I've been real lucky and blessed to run into several very nice police officers who have let me off on some really horrendous tickets. And I think all of them. And as you can tell, I did pass that one guy, but this is one thing I will stress, is when you're passing somebody, get around them, don't screw around, don't get next to them, because what happens is if you give them an opportunity, they'll speed up, and then next thing you know, you'll both be doing 100 miles an hour, and you don't want that. You want to get around them, slow down, get it done. And this is 45 here too. And here's this Shell station here. I go to Shell station. Over on this side here, there's Clark Brothers Guns on the left-hand side, one of the best gun stores in Virginia. It's got its own shooting range. The shooting range is free. All you got to do is buy your gear from Clark Brothers. You know, buy your bullets, buy your targets from Clark Brothers, and then you join their range. So you give them your license, and you join their range. It's free, and they write your name down, give you a card. I got mine. I put clear tape on mine. This is a Coral's gas station and a truck stop here. This is a place called Barbecue Country. It was funny as hell because we went there one night, my wife and I, and we wanted to get a barbecue sandwich each, you know, and some fries. And we got them, but the guy in there was a big burly dude, like 400 pounds, and he says, you want it one piece or you want it minced? And I asked my wife, she said, minced. I said, we'll get it minced. So he took this big, dull meat cleaver, and he took this piece of pork roast, and he just beat the shit out of it in front of us. But then, you know what? It was a good sandwich, but I just had to laugh at what this looked like. I said, God darn, man, it's like using a hammer to squash pork flat. But he got the job done. The sandwich was made, the fries was good, and the drink was good, you know. And but it just cracked me up. You want it minced? He just beat that shit to death, bro. Woo! But yeah. So this is a funny little road right here. I think this is 15, 29, 15. And it's like 20, it's like 4 different roads, like 29, 15, 17, all in one. And it's gonna be rattlesnake dangerous when it's wet. And when it's dark, this is not the road you want to be messing around on, screwing around on, because you can come over one of these hills and there's somebody turning or some shit, and then the traffic's all stopped and you're hooking it up, you're doing 70 mile an hour. It is a 55 mile an hour zone through here in most spots, but there are 45 mile an hour speed zones, and I have seen the police sit in them, and I'm telling you, they don't screw around. Virginia police, they don't screw around in the 45 mile an hour zones. So just watch it. Now I gotta back off here a little bit. This is a very strange place. Every road has its own character, and depending on the time of day, that character changes. And here, in this kind of thing, you get this kind of a lot of stopping traffic, a lot of backed up traffic, a lot of cars that aren't going, and then you get these people that are humming. And I got people coming up behind me that are rolling. There's a really nice Charger. Man, I like that car. But I just can't own a Dodge because I have terrible luck with the reliability. And here comes probably one of the best cars that GM ever made, I think. I think this is an Impala. Yeah, this is Impala. And these were not, fancy schmancy cars. These were like the Honda Accords for GM, for Chevrolet. But I've seen a lot of them go a long way, and people really liked them. And they had some come out with some sport models, and the police used to use some of these too. But they were really good cars. I mean, if you find them now, you're finding the ones that are survivors. And as a general rule, they're going to have 200,000 miles on them, but that usually means they were well maintained. But I would probably get over here in this left-hand lane, but it's congesting up, and I don't like that. Because people start jamming on brakes and shit. It's busy. This is way busier than I'm used to on this road. But we're just out cruising, and I'm just running my mouth. I hope that I'm entertaining you with what I'm saying. This is a brand new intersection right here. This whole thing, this is probably $30 million here for this bridge and this cloverleaf here, and they did such a great job. This used to be a stopped at intersection, and it used to back up traffic for miles. I actually almost got a ticket off of that intersection one night going home, because I was going home from Chantilly, where I used to work, and my wife, this is back when my wife was alive and she was sick, and I'm going to use her as an excuse, but I was trying to get home. And 17 was going down 95 south in the afternoon is a disaster. From Springfield, it's just a disaster. It always has been, all the way to Fredericksburg, and it only lets up at Dumfries, which is like 25 miles of traffic backup from Washington, D.C. So coming around this way, you get to go down 17 south, but once you hit 17 south, man, it's just so sweet, because you can set the cruise control at 67 miles an hour. It's a 55 mile an hour zone. Usually the police, they don't have a problem with it if you're in the right lane and you're chilling out, you're acting like you got a brain. I'm going to come out here a little bit. Yeah, we got a car over here he's doing the speed limit, so God bless him. He's driving a BMW, which is that's an M unit. That's a 340i X drive, so four-wheel drive, all-wheel drive. Now, I come up beside him, he's speeding up, but I'm not going to speed up, because right over this hill in the median, there's a place where the county police love to sit in the middle of. Right here. He's probably not sitting here now. I think that's a county cop coming at us. Yeah, that's a county cop coming at us, I think. Yep, that's him, right? That is a sheriff of Fauquier County. Yep. So, like I said, the cops like to sit there. But, what was I talking about? God darn it, I lost my train of thought. Anyway, what a beautiful day. Well, what a beautiful day. And I gotta say, look, when I was young, I was stupid. And it all circled around cars. I was never into drugs. I was always afraid of, I knew, something inside of my head knew my luck about, dealing pot, because I had friends who dealt pot. And they probably still deal pot. But back then, dealing pot was like dealing cocaine and heroin. And the penalties were real severe. And I knew I was one of them people. My luck was, if I started dealing pot so I could smoke pot, I would go to jail. And worst off than that, I would embarrass my family, my mom especially. And I didn't want to do that. And but my trouble was with cars and motorcycles. And boy, I got in so much trouble. But one of the trouble I got into, one of the biggest things of trouble I got into was, I was driving my Volkswagen. I had a Volkswagen Beetle, And at the same time I was driving this Beetle like a fool, somebody was robbing a Pizza Hut in the same area. And that person who was robbing the Pizza Hut was wearing an Air Force flight jacket, which is green and shiny, and they're really nice. And I don't see them anymore. I wish I did, because I'd love to get one of those. And I had, because I had that Volkswagen, and my Volkswagen didn't have any heater boxes, because the heater boxes would leak, and you couldn't use them, or you'd kill yourself, because the exhaust fumes that went into the Volkswagen. Because the air-cooled Volkswagen, the way it heated was, there was air boxes, and the pipes, the exhaust pipes got hot, and then the fan would blow air through these enclosures around those exhaust pipes, and it would blow that hot air into the car. And when they were sealed, it worked great. I had a friend of mine who was a Volkswagen mechanic, and his were always sealed and always worked great, and that system worked fantastic. I mean, it actually defrosted the windshields and everything. But if it leaked at all, it was just like being in a gas chamber. So as a result, my Volkswagen didn't have any heat. So I was wearing a full flight jacket. I had a full flight jacket that my boss gave me, which pretty damn expensive today. They'd probably be $500. But I was wearing that, and I managed to, what were we doing? Were we drinking? Were we drinking or were we smoking? I forget what we were doing. We were doing something stupid, because we were teenagers. Just over teenagers, unfortunately. And I wound up getting the attention of a police officer. And my buddy who was with me, I know what it was. I was coming down to a red light at an intersection that was absolutely the middle of the night. And there was nobody around. And I was coming down. I slowed down about 30 miles an hour. I looked around. I said, son of a bitch, there ain't nobody sitting here. And it was clear. I could see like a quarter mile up the road, quarter mile. I said, screw this shit. And I ran right through the red light. And as I did it, my friend said, no, 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 no. and so the cop got behind me. And I'm thinking to myself, I said, I don't feel like, I was a retarded kid. I was retarded. And God bless my parents, God bless my dad for not putting a plastic bag over my head and taping it shut and killing me. Because I drove them crazy as a kid. I'm just telling you, I was a curse on my parents' life when I was a kid. And it's stupid to apologize. They're both passed on to heaven. But I apologize, Mom and Dad. But anyway, so I ran the damn light. The cops got behind me. I did not pull over. He got behind him, driving an air-cooled Volkswagen Beetle. I'm getting chased by cops driving Pontiacs. Let me get over. I got a guy's in a hurry. I'm doing 67. He's doing about 80. There he goes. He's got his brand new Acura TL. That's a car I was thinking about buying. I just don't want an Acura. I would rather have a Honda. But anyway, so the cop got behind me, and I drove up into my apartment complex, and the guy was with me, was losing his mind. He was being rational. I wasn't being rational, and the more he was screaming at me, man, stop, just pull over, man, just pull over, man, come on, just pull over, man. And the more he said that to me, for some reason, the more I wanted to run, And I'm in this little, I think it was a 1968 air-cooled Volkswagen Beetle. Now, the dude that was in the seat next to me built the engine. And this engine was tough as hell. It had a lot of power for a little Volkswagen engine. And so I drove around and come back out of the to come out of the apartment complex I was in, ooh, I ran over a skunk. I smell it on the tires. And it was a one-lane road to get out. And the cop blocked the road. So, you know, I'm Dukes of Hazzard Phil. And we're Bo and Luke. And we're going to run. So I hopped up on the curb. And it wasn't a sidewalk. It was just like a drive. It was a curb too. It was like I would want to say about a 4-inch curb. I hopped up on it. And when I hopped up on it, the cop was behind his car. He stepped out from behind his car in the middle of the grass side where I was going to drive through. And I was already coming at him. And I was like, well, dude, you got to move. And I was still moving at him, and he jumped out the way. I saw his loafers go past the windshield. That's how close it was. It was stupid. It was stupid. I'm laughing now because I'm not dead. And the cop, this was back when they had 357 Magnums, and he had a 357 Magnum out. He had every right to kill me. And I know the officer's name. I won't repeat it, but I'm going to say Officer L. His name started with an L. Thank you, sir, for not killing the stupid, retarded kid, and also for not letting me hurt you. Anyway, long story short, I went down into this little town called Occoquan, and there's this walking bridge. Every police officer in that county was chasing me. And I went down to that walking bridge, and I blasted across that walking bridge, and my friend was having a spasm. And I was like, you know what, I'm going to let you out, dude, because I had been driving that Volkswagen, and I knew the limitations of that Volkswagen, but one of the things that people don't realize about those old Beetles is they have a torsion bar front suspension. And if you drive them too hard, what it does is the torsion bars, it's not the torsion bar itself, but it's the two arms that operate that connect the front wheels to the suspension. They will curl under. And they'll curl under and back. And what that does is it makes the car want to flip over. And I know what that felt like because I'd driven the car. I knew what the limitations of the car was, and I'd been studying air-cooled Volkswagens and Porsches about the way they handle. And one of the things that I found out about my particular Volkswagen was that if I was under a high rev situation, say I was coming down to a corner, I could slam it from fourth to third, come off the gas, turn the wheel, and the rear wheels would tow out, and the car would literally have rear wheel steer around corners. And I would punch it right when I wanted to straighten out, right before I wanted to straighten out, and the car would go straight. So I could actually manipulate the throttle to make the rear wheels tow out, to make the rear of the car steer out around corners, and that car would go around corners, slow speed corners, fast as hell. Now, you never, ever wanted to do this, say if you were in a 60, 70 mile an hour turn, because what it would do then is the rear wheels would tow out, but when you went to hit the gas, the forces were so high that that little motor would not bring the wheels straight, and the car would just continue to slide sideways. And this is the problem with Porsches that kills a lot of people in the air-cooled Porsches. They used to kill a lot of racing drivers too, or would just cause a lot of accidents, is that they tow out under, when you come off the throttle, the rear wheels tow out. And Porsche, to their great credit, did a lot of work on that in the later models of the Porsches to stop the tendency of these cars to steer out. Well, I knew about this tendency when I had that Volkswagen, and I used it to my advantage. Oh man, two bikes coming by. And so I used it going through this little, it was a little river town, and I made some amazing turns. And every time I made a turn, the cops got farther behind me because they just couldn't make the turn how I could make the turn. And I got the other side of that walking bridge, and I left, and I drove out of the county, and I drove all the way to Washington National Airport that night. And I literally, that Volkswagen had a top speed of about 105 miles an hour. 105, yeah, about 105 miles an hour. And I used all of it that night. I used that car. And I got in a shitload of trouble. I got in a shitload of trouble. And the cops would, I didn't come home that night. I came home like, I snuck in the house about 7 o'clock, I think it was, went downstairs. And my dad came downstairs and he was so mad. He said, "Phil, what the hell did you do last night?" I said, "What are you talking about, Dad?" He said, "Shut the hell up. Tell me what the hell you did last night." I said, "What are you talking about?" And then my boss, who I do a sideways, said, "Phil, what the hell's going on? The cops came to your house. They searched your house last night." And my dad was telling me, "I know he did it. Whatever you're here for, I know he did it. I know he did it." Thanks, Dad. Thanks a lot, you prick. But I got in trouble because when I drove at the cop said that I tried to kill him, which I did not try to. I was not trying to kill the cop. I just wanted the cop to move out the way. That's it. And he moved out the way. And my friend that I let off on the end of the bridge, he was agreeing to anything and everything the cops told him to say. You know, so he would not get into trouble. And that's not his fault. Okay? I was the dumbass got him in that situation. So he wasn't a narc. I was a retard. But I wound up spending 60 days in jail on that. Because they came to me with an offer. They said, "Okay, Mr. Garris." They were expecting me to deny I was in the car, to fight the case, to prove it. I was like, you know what? I'm not going to put my parents through that. I saw right off the bat that I screwed up hugely, bigly, royally, superly, duperly, super duper time. I screwed up. All my fucked up visions of this being, just fun and having a blast and, this is exciting, all dropped down to, well, you're looking at 1 to 10 years in jail, Mr. Garris. I was like, what the fuck? For attempted murder of a police officer. I'm like going, it was not what they phrased. I forget what they phrased. It was like felonious assault, I think it was. Something like that. And I was, in the purest terms of the law, I put that police officer's life in danger. It doesn't matter I was a stupid kid. That doesn't matter. What mattered was I should have stopped. And I didn't stop. And I risked the police officer's life, and I apologized. And the police officer had every right to put 6 bullets right in my stupid fucking head, and he didn't do it. And I thank him for that. Thank him for not shooting my friend. I apologize to my friend. But in any case, so I spent time in jail on it. And that should have taught me a lesson, but, it didn't. 2 years later, I had a motorcycle, which was a GT550 Suzuki. It's a 2-stroke. And it was a piece of beat up shit. The brakes didn't work too well. The expansion pipes, the exhaust pipes were rusted out. And it was the loudest motorcycle on the face of the planet. And I loved it. I loved that motorcycle to death. But my mom was a head nurse at a hospital, and she worked on motorcycle riders every week. she was terrified. And she absolutely forbade me to get that thing fixed. She says, as long as you live under my roof, you can't, I'm not going to let you ride a motorcycle. And I'm being the stupid kid I was. Now I was about a 19-year-old man. So I'm not a teenager anymore, you know, but I'm still working and I'm riding my bicycle. I'm riding my bicycle to work up a hill. And so I got into a police chase with that damn thing. I used to take it out of the house and I'd push it down the street and I bump started because I couldn't get it to start because the starter didn't work, but it had a good battery in it, so if I bump started, it would crank up. And man, that bike sounded like Satan on two wheels. Oh my God, it sounded so good, and it echoed off the damn hills. And I'd take it down through the county next to me had some really great country roads, and I'd take it down there full damn throttle, 90 miles an hour. Oh my God, was it a blast. And I got to do this about 3 times, and the third time the damn police got behind me and they chased me, and I didn't pull over until my brakes completely fried and the clutch completely fried, and I had the cops coming at me the other way. They'd called the county. I came out of the county I lived in, and they called the county ahead of me, and I saw the county cops coming the other way, and I didn't have any brakes, no clutch, and no way to stop. And I said, you know what, this something inside of my head, my guardian angel said, Phil, you need to stop, because you're gonna die. You're gonna die. You need to stop. So I slowed down. I'm downshifting. I turned off the side of the road, and the cop had been chasing me, got up beside me, and drove right in front of me, and I drove the car off. I drove the motorcycle off in a ditch like right here, and fell over. As soon as I fell over, the cops jumped on top of me, and I said, I'm not fighting. They got the cuffs on me, got in the car, and the cop says, why didn't you stop? I said, well, I ain't got no brakes. I ain't got no brakes, man. And he said, and they got talking and shit, and they looked at the bike and they couldn't believe that I ran from the cops on that motorcycle. And funny thing was, the cop said, I just followed your brake light. Yeah, I wouldn't try to stay up with you. I just followed your brake light. The problem was, every turn I came to and I hit the brakes, there was no brakes. So the only way to slow down was to downshift. But being that it was a 2-stroke, there was no engine braking. So I missed, before I slowed down, I almost missed like 4 turns going out across the lanes, and there were cops coming the other way. I said, God darn it, I'm gonna miss a turn here. And this was a country road, you know, ups and downs. I'm gonna go across a right-hand turn, and there's gonna be a cop coming the other way, and I'm gonna die. So that's why I pulled over. But after that, I lost my license in that, and there was no cops that I drove at, or any, you know, that I didn't try to endanger any police officer's life. I did endanger a police officer's life because they chased me, but I didn't try, you know. If a cop had been out in the street, I'd have probably stopped, or I'd probably drove off into a ditch and killed myself. But I wasn't about to do that shit again. That shit was just plain stupid. And then what I did with the bike was plain stupid, you know? And I got in trouble there. I didn't spend any time in jail. I did lose my license for a year. I did pay a substantial fine. But my mom had had enough. And she said, you know, Phil, we're going to have a talk. And I went, uh-oh, this has never happened. We sat down at the kitchen table, her and my dad, and I said, Philip, you caused this to happen. And I'm not spending my money on this. I work hard for my money, Philip. And I'm not bailing you out of this. Now, you're going to have to get another job, and you're going to have to make the money, and you're going to have to give all the money to me. And I'm going to take all that money, I'm going to give it to a lawyer. You're going to go see a lawyer, I'll take you to see the lawyer, but you are going to be the one that pays for all of this. And once you get straightened out with this, you're going to have to move out, because I've had enough. And you know what? Mom was 100% right. And it was the best thing she ever did for me. Well, not the best thing. Obviously, putting up my stupid shit, having me born, protecting me. When I was born, I was sickly, and she took care of me for the first 5 years of my life. And suddenly, around the age of 6, 7 years old, I got my health perked up, and I got better and stronger. And she put up with my horse shit, and my dad put up with my horse shit all my teenage years. But this was the defining moment where I realized, you know what? I got to stop being a stupid punk kid, and I got to grow up and be a man. And I worked 3 months at my job up the hill, and I got a job at a bar, working at nights. And I worked, see, it was 3 to 12, 3 to 1, I think it was, at the place I worked at up the hill. And then I would ride my bicycle down the hill, and I'd work from, I think, I'd try to get in at 2:30, but I think from 2:30 to like 11 at the bar that I worked at. And I'd give my mom all the money. And she found a good lawyer, and we went to court, and I lost my license. I kept my bicycle, and my parents worked with me, and my mom found a place for me to live, and she paid the first couple of months of rent. She did a security deposit, paid the first couple of months of rent, and got me out of the house, got me away from them. And God bless you, Mom. And like I said, I was retarded, and I was saved by my mom and my dad, but especially my mom. And every good day I have today, part of that belongs to her. And I know that I really do recommend that all the kids, if you have children, that you don't let them drink sodas. Keep them away from that aspartame and that sucralose, because kids are crazy enough as it is. Male children are driven crazy by the testosterone when they make the change from a child to a young man. It makes them crazy because we are competitive, and our bodies want to compete for mates, for women. And keeping them occupied, keeping them well fed with real food, not McDonald's, real food, cooked at home, and keeping them away from any sodas, keeping them away from any aspartame or sucralose is 100% necessary for their brains to grow up. High fat, high natural fat meals are great at stabilizing the way kids think and making their brains strong so they can deal with depression. And I was very lucky, because even though I was stark raving crazy, my mom, God, she was such a hard worker. She was a head nurse at a hospital for like, I'm going to say 12 years. She raised us. She took care of my dad. They worked so hard. My dad had his own siding business. My mom was a bookkeeper. She did that too. They saved up a bunch of money. And when I had the opportunity. Now, I watched my brothers go to college, and my oldest brother went to college. We're gonna charge up this hill because I don't like going up this hill slow. This is the hill here on what is this? I think this is Route 15. This is the only hill we got to go up, and then it goes over the crest of this hill. Then we can just coast. But I like to get up this hill because I don't like crawling up this hill because this car, this little 4-cylinder, it likes to spin. It doesn't like to drag. So we're not going to drag. We're going to get up this hill. The speed limit is 45, and I'm only doing 60. But we're going to get up this hill. I know this van's going to come out before I ever get there. So I got to slow down. Come on. Come on now. Come on out. There you go. This poor guy in his truck here, he's having to fight this thing all the way up the hill. There you go. The van, if he's decent, there he goes. Got over. And once we get over this hill, then we can coast. Okay, here we go. We're coming over the hill. I don't want to be next to him when we come over the hill. There we go. He's good. He's a good driver. He stayed in his lane. I stayed in my lane, and we're going to go down the hill. Now I'm going to get past him. There we go. So now he's got the whole 2 lanes to himself, and I got the whole lanes to myself. Only thing I got to be worried about right here is a daggone cop sitting down here in the median, because right now I'm coasting about 72 in a 55, and that's what, 17 over. That's a little bit too much. You don't really want to do that. Now I've come down this hill rolling, and it's not hard to do because it's a good hill. It's a good road too. But anyway, but yeah, my mom is the reason that I have good days today. A lot of that belongs to her. So all you mothers out there who have sons that are driving you insane, please do what I did, do what my mom did for me, which was teach me responsibility. And I've never forgotten how much money I made, and I gave it all to that lawyer and to the county. And the lawyer I had was a great lawyer, because when I started that police chase, I crossed county lines. And when I crossed county lines, it became a potential double jeopardy thing. And the lawyer said to the prosecuting attorney, says, look, this is kind of he's got the same charges in 2 counties. Can we just, charge him in 1 county since that's where it started? And we'll avoid, double jeopardy, 2 sets of charges on the same offense. And so it all worked out. But all of it is my fault. All of that disappointment that my parents went through, that's my fault. And I wear that. I'm not proud of it. I do laugh about it because how can you be so stupid? But I was pretty stupid. And we're going to get down here, and I'm going to pull off the road here. We're heading down towards Millwood, and I want to pull over somewhere here, and I'm going to change the battery. I'm going to do it right here. Yeah, I'm doing it right here. I'm going to change the battery in this camera real quick, because I know I'm about to lose charge. So, here we go. Alright, we're back. I gotta wait. I got a whole lot of cars coming to me. I'm always laughing about how no matter what time I come on the highway, there's always a car coming at me. At the end of my street, I don't care what, and in the morning, I went through a time where I swear there must have been a cop who was mind melded with me, because about every once a week at least, I get to the end of my street and a car would be coming, and it'd be a police officer car. A police officer, it'd be a police officer, and a police cruiser. Now this is turned down on 723. This is we're heading towards Millwood, and I wish I could do some, spinning the camera. Now this is something here you got to be careful about when you turn on this road, because cars coming here. Now if I see no cars coming out, I usually cut that corner because there's no reason not to. But this is a beautiful little place in Virginia here. Oh, they got the horses out today. This is a beautiful equestrian center here on the right-hand side. A huge investment from the owner. Oh, we've got a bag here in the street. What the hell that was? No, don't get under my car. Thank you. Oh my gosh. If you're driving down the road and you see a blowing bag, hey, look at the horses in the field. But if you see a blowing bag in the street, don't go crazy trying to avoid it, but try not to hit it. Because what the bags do, the plastic bags do, is they get up underneath your car, and if they hit your catalytic converter, they instantly melt to it. And they don't normally catch fire, but man, do they create a stench. It's a beautiful day today, folks. It is a beautiful day today, let me tell you. Woo! Beautiful day. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful day. Yes, it is. Wow. I feel so blessed and honored that God has let me live 64 years, and as stupid as I've been stupid. As stupid as I've been, I can still walk. My back is still straight. My arms still work. My hands still work. The half of my brain that's still alive works. I still say I got brain damage. I never had a scan. What is it? MRI, I guess it was. I still say I got some frontal lobe damage. They probably look at me and go, "Dude, you should be a vegetable." But I'm not. I'm a miracle of God. Thank you, sir. And that's something I want to tell people too. Is listen, your health is a blessing. You've won the lottery. You've won that lottery. If you have working arms and legs, and you can walk, and you can talk, and you can rationalize and reason, and your brain works, you are already a lottery winner. You've already won the most important lottery you'll ever win. And the thing is to preserve that. And every day you get up, and you're able to get up. And I know when you're suffering, because life's not easy. Life is not easy. I don't give a crap what anybody says. Now, if you are an exceptionally beautiful woman or an exceptionally handsome man, you do get advantages, okay? And if you have the attitude, a good attitude to go with those looks, then you do get even more advantages. But I will say this: a person with a great attitude can be ugly as hell, and guess what? They get tremendous advantage from that attitude, because their ability to ignore the comments, their ability to rise above their appearance, and to be a productive member of society who actually lifts up people's spirits and souls, you know what? They're awesome. And it means that it doesn't matter what your outward appearance is. It matters what your inward abilities are. It doesn't matter what the shade of your skin is. It doesn't matter where you came from. All it matters is that you love yourself enough to not be hateful and to not judge other people and to pass on a little bit of goodness in the world, you know? And if you can do that, no matter what, you're ahead of the game. And nowhere in that does that mean you have to be somebody's. Whoa, okay, here we go. This is what we look for. Hello, you're gonna get killed. God darn. That's unusual. Those people are gonna get killed, dude. They're gonna get killed. Somebody just came over the hill. Yep. Ooh, damn, this is not the road to be walking on. They're walking on the proper side. You're supposed to be walking towards traffic, but you're supposed to be walking. I would be walking in the grass on the side of the road. I would not be walking in the road. Ooh. People come humming down this road at 55, 60. And, ooh. That's scary. But, like I was saying, nowhere in being a successful person does it mean you have to be someone's victim. If you have an ugly, hateful person who is beating on you, or if you have an ugly, hateful person who is making you feel like complete trash, then make your plans to get away from them. Make your plans. And plan it. And don't tell that person. And get away from them. I mean, and there's a difference between somebody who's correcting you because you're fucking up. Okay? Because every parent is going through this with their kid. Where they've set limits and the kid's always testing the limits. You know? There's a fine line, but there really isn't a fine line between correcting your kid and treating your kid like crap. I was corrected all my life. I was physically corrected several times, usually whipped, but I was slapped one time in the head, and for good reason. I did something really stupid. I've done a lot of stupid shit when I was a kid. And what I did that time was really stupid. I'm not going to talk about what I did, but it was really stupid. And my parents wound up having to pay for that too. But overtly making a person feel like crap because they're alive, that's unacceptable. That's just not acceptable. And I had someone in my life that was really good at that, at making me feel like crap about being alive. And my mom really helped me in that respect. And she got me where I could experience life amongst my friends and amongst my job mates. And my dad always taught me that hard work is the only way you're ever going to make money. So my mom taught me the same thing. You can hallucinate all you want, but you're going to have to work your ass off for a very little bit of money for a very long time. And he's absolutely correct. And he despised, one of the things he despised was back when we had the old Rotary phones. He would get calls from the police associations. And for those of you who don't know, the police associations, depending on how they're accredited, have nothing to do with the police. They take the police's name, they collect the money in the police's name, and they just use it for their own purposes. They don't help police. And that's used to piss my dad off to no end. And he made the mistake one time of paying money to a police foundation as a charity. And he had several friends that were police officers. And they told him, my dad's name was Earl. He said, Earl, they have nothing to do with us. As a matter of fact, we despise them, those organizations, because they're using our name and they're using how hard we work to make money, and they steal that money. And my dad was, really? Yeah. We prefer you don't give them money. So, but he despised those calls he used to get because, and when he'd get those calls, I'd be there and he'd tell me, he said, Phil, there's always somebody out there who wants to steal your money. Okay? There's always somebody out there who wants to steal your money. And they'll come at you like they're your buddy or your friend, or they're somebody who's helping somebody else, when in fact all they're doing, and they're not specifically stealing your money, they're stealing anybody's money they can steal. So you work so hard for your money. Do you want to let them steal your money? And I tell him, I said, no, Dad, I don't. I said, it's okay to get angry and to protect yourself and to say no. And my dad was not the nicest person, but he was very, very smart. He was way smarter than he ever gave himself credit for. And my dad was a North Carolina farm boy. And he came from a big family that grew up in the height of the 1929 Depression. And they had tough times. And he never got over the fact that I think he finished high school in the military. He got his GED in the military. But he always thought of himself as stupid. You know, he always thought of himself as beneath anybody else that was around him. And that broke my heart, because he was brilliant in the common sense things. And he could read and write and do mathematics. He ran his own damn business. And he could sell jobs and he could schmooze people. But he always had, in the core of his being, he always thought of himself as less than other people. And that broke my heart. There was no change in that. That was deep set into the core of his being. And his mother was a big part of that. And that was where a lot of the way he treated us came from. And he was just trying to survive, you know? And he loved my mom and he loved us. And he worked his ass off doing things that, you know, he enjoyed doing them, but he didn't really enjoy doing them. But they had to be done. We had to make money to pay bills. And I say we, I'm not saying we. My mom and my dad, they worked their ass off to make it. And so, as retarded as I was, I watched my two brothers go to college. I got three older brothers. And they started 7 years, 8 years, and 9 years older than me, I believe. And I watched my two older brothers go to college. My oldest brother got a degree in business, and he did okay. He had some really interesting he had a really bad time in college in a certain situation, because someone he was completely in love with this girl, and they had a falling out, and he had some bad times happen. My mom, I'll never forget that weekend. My mom went to the college and got him, and he had to go to the hospital. And when I talked to my mom about it, she says, look, we're just not going to talk about this, okay? He fell through a shower door and he cut his arm, and it had to be repaired, okay? And that's how we're going to talk about this. And my mom looked at me, I said, you understand me, Philip? I said, yes, Mom, I do. And I never talked to anybody about it. This is actually the first time I've talked about it. But, you know, life can be brutal. And those angels who God puts in your life, man, they give you tomorrow. And my brother and this girl, they got back together and formed a family. And my brother continued to deal with what he had to deal with, and he dealt with it with food. He had a family support, and he had a business degree he had to utilize to make a living, and he took shit for fucking 25 fucking straight fucking years and worked under motherfuckers who took his work and took the credit for his work, and he never fucking complained, and he just kept eating and kept getting bigger, and then he got cancer, and then the cancer caused him to lose weight, and it saved his life essentially, and he's fighting cancer today, but he's raised a wonderful family, still has a beautiful wife. They have a beautiful family, but there were bad times, and but the point I was trying to make was that I watched my oldest brother go to college, and it was a struggle for him, but he got through it and he did good. My second oldest brother went to college and partied. That was his thing. He went to college for, I think, for 2 years, and my parents said, guess what? We're not paying for your next year of college because you're just fucking off. At least that's how I remember it. So they didn't pay for his college, and my next brother to me had no inclinations of going to college. He was busy smoking pot and partying and having a good time and going to the track with my dad. And so when they came to me, they had saved up a lot of money because they had always wanted us, all four of their sons, to go to college, because my mom and my dad bought into which is actually a lie. It's a lie that you need college to succeed. That's a lie. Depending on the degree you get at college, your college degree can be completely worthless. And if you don't have the drive to survive and to succeed, you're going to have a tough time. And so anyway, my next brother to me, he didn't go to college. So they saved that money up for themselves. And they came to me, and they actually did frame it that way. They said, Phil, we've saved up a bunch of money, and we'll send you to college, but you have to, you have to try to do well in college. And I told my mom and my dad point blank, I said, Mom, Dad, look, I didn't tell him this at the time, but my brain processes work in about 4 tracks at all times. I'd love to pass this guy, but I'm not going to be able to. I'm not going to get to him, and I'm not going to try. We'll stay behind this Prius. But anyway, my thought processes work in 4 tracks all at the same time. One of them is the logic track. One of them is the emotion track. One of them is a track I won't talk about. And the other is a protection track, which, what did I say? Logic, emotion, a track I won't talk about, protection track. But within those 4 tracks, I know what my capabilities are. And I know where I stand pretty much at all times. And it's frightening at all times to have the kind of clarity to know that you're a fucking lunatic and that you don't have everything figured out, and that you're going to need time to figure this shit out. And going to college ain't going to figure this shit out. And getting a girl pregnant and having 2 or 3 kids and then having to be locked into working for 18 years, that's a fucking disaster. Not just for me, but for the girl and for the kids, especially for the kids, because I'm a fucking lunatic. When I was 18, I was a fucking lunatic. And I knew it. I didn't have everything figured out. And I didn't know where the logic was going to come from. But I knew that making certain mistakes, becoming a drug addict or having unprotected sex and getting a girl pregnant and having kids, that was a disaster. Because what it would do was it would lock me into a situation where I would not have the time or the ability to analyze what the fuck was going on in my crazy ass head. And I told my parents, I said, I'm not going to college. You can save that money. You can spend that money on yourself. And that's not me. I'm not being generous to them. They saved them. It's their money. I'm just saying, no, I'm not going to college. That's what I said. And it disappointed my mom. But she understood it. She knew. And she had to beg me to finish high school. Because my last year of high school, I was smoking a lot of pot. And I spent a lot of time in high school sleeping. They actually have a picture of me in the yearbook with my head down on the desk. And I was a pretty good looking kid when I was a teenager. I was a pretty handsome kid, and I drew a lot of girls. A lot of girls wanted to get with me. And I had a girlfriend, and came close to getting her pregnant. And I just couldn't have that, God darn it, having me as a dad, and I was 18. I couldn't imagine having a kid that was 5 years old, and I was as crazy as I was. Like, oh my God. And, people say, well, it straightens you out. It becomes all clear. No, I don't buy that shit. It doesn't change who the fuck you are when you're fucking crazy, when you're getting adrenaline rushes every day. And, people say, well, then you should have taken Adderall. This was before all that shit, But, in any case, I didn't go to college, and my parents got that money, and they started making plans to move to Florida and to retire. And then my mom got cancer. And that was probably the most heartbreaking day that I ever sat at the kitchen table with my dad. Because we all knew my mom was a chain smoker. My dad wasn't a chain smoker. My dad would occasionally smoke cigars with his friends. And he smoked cigars because it was, he wasn't a big drinker. He did drink some, but he didn't like drinking too much. He would drink like, he had a bar in the basement, but the people that he drank with, he could see that, drinking could lead to some problems. He didn't like problems. But he would smoke some cigars. But my mom, to deal with the stress that she was under, because she was under tremendous stress from the batshit crazy boys that she was raising, the 4 batshit crazy boys, and a batshit crazy husband. And she took all of that. And she's the reason that we survived. I'm telling you, if it wasn't for my mom, I wouldn't be here today. I'm just telling you. And my brothers, they wouldn't be here today. Because we'd have all found ways to kill ourselves. I'm going to get over this lane. Because this stretch of road here, the trucks, they drive on the seams on the right-hand side, and the road is just a complete cluster mess. Anyway, my mom was an absolute saint. And to my dad, my mom was the best woman a man could ever have. And she was very passionate. I never heard about this. My oldest brother told me about this, is that they would retire to the bedroom, and my oldest brother could hear them getting busy, and it wasn't nothing sick. My parents never tried to show that in front of the kids, but it's just a matter of, this is part of growing up. This is part of, they had a very passionate love affair. Let me just put it that way. And my dad loved my mom to the ends of the earth. My dad was a little bit of a cad, though, I've got to say. I had seen signs after my dad passed away that he was kind of a player. And my mom kind of figured that, I think, but she was very adamant that he was to come home. He was to come home. He was not to hang out with his friends, unless they were doing stuff like deer hunting or fishing or something like that. And she was definitely the strongest person in the house, 100%. So, you know, I have to laugh. We've had this whole thing where the news media has been, and certain politicians have been talking about women needing protection and this and that and the other, and women are weak and all this kind of stuff. I'm just telling you, y'all need to shut your mouths. And don't ever call my mother a, what the hell is this word they called? I can't even remember the insults they used recently to describe women, to describe mothers. Breast feeders, or chest feeders, or what the hell is this other thing? I don't even. They are mothers. They are women, natural women who have uteruses, who birth children, who love them. They're the only reason we have a life worth living, a world worth living in, because they have a boundlessly endless ability to raise children and to be. I wonder if I got to back off here, because these people are going to be driving crazy. Here we go. Yep. I'm going to back off too, because I got a guy in a Taurus here. He's been shadowing me, so I got to let him go. And I got another guy flying up behind me in a Dodge Charger, which this is the kind that the cops use. But it's not a cop one, but I still want them to go, because I'm not in a mood to be. And now this is the road on the right-hand side here. That's how you go to Charlestown if you're going in the front entrance. But I never go in the front entrance. To go to Charlestown and to do it in a way that is sort of painless, no lights and everything. There's a road down here. I'm gonna tell you what the road is in a minute. And it's the best way to get into Charlestown at all times. And here he comes. He was all in a hurry. He was all in a hurry. You might have seen my camera here, but I wonder what the hell this is. But I got Virginia tags, so I can't give him no ticket anyway. Flowing Springs Road. You take a right into Flowing Springs Road. I'm going to get you all the way to the parking lot. Turn in here. I usually come across the white line here. And when I get down here, I actually turn across the white line and decrease my radius here. I don't try to go around that. I go right here, come up here. Then when you get up here, this is a stop sign. And this is a four-way stop, and you got to stop. Then you got to let the other people go. So I'm going to stop. There's you, there's you, there's you. There's that, there's that, there's that. Here we go. The guy in the Kia here, he had to come out and block off the guy in the Honda because he wasn't going to let him to go. So you come out this way. Now there is a Holiday Inn to the right here you can stay in. Which, Holiday Inn, it's an awesome hotel. So you can stay here, and the track is right down the street. Now they do have their own hotel here, and if you have the card, you can get free nights at their hotel, but you're going to have to book in advance. And during the summertime, Fridays, I would guess Fridays and Saturdays are booked pretty much all summer long. I've never tried to use it. And this is a traffic circle, obviously. You want to be careful here. Now I'm over here, and I'm going to turn. This guy's going to go. I'm going to go this way. I'm going to follow this guy here. And we are just about to be at the track. Now, this is pretty cool. This is where they have a parking lot here for the people who tow vehicles. They have a parking lot and working tracks here for the horses so they can exercise them. And they have a huge parking garage here. You're going to see it in a minute as we come over the hill here. And look at the beautiful trees. Look at those beautiful trees. And as we come in the backside here, they have a small sign. They need to get a big sign right down here. And they need to put, I even put it in neon and flashing lights. And, you know, make it really something so it looks like you're coming into somewhere. And this is Hollywood Casino right here. I'm going to drive you around the casino because I got enough battery to do that. And here's this. Here's that. I'm going to get out this guy's way. Now, on the right-hand side here is the valet parking. If you come underneath that entrance I just showed you, that's where you go in, and you have a valet park your car for you. Now as you come around this way, I'm coming around to the biggest parking, but I want to just sort of run you around because I'm not going to move the camera. If you have a motorhome, they've got a parking lot here for motorhomes. Notice here, people come down, they park here, and it's, as far as I know, it's free. You can park here for, you know, I guess for a couple of days. They just want to see you come in the casino and, you know, maybe spend some money in the casino. Looks like there's one entrance in and one entrance out, which is interesting, but that's okay. But there you can see the west garage of the casino. And it's a nice place. I feel, when I come here, I feel like I'm safe here. And I really do appreciate that they do that. I'm going to let these people go. We're going to go up here. I'm going to go in this other part. You know what? I'm going to show you what the front entrance looks like. And I know I got the battery power to do it. So I'm going to go down here. I'm going to go underneath the header. I'm going to show you the front entrance in. I guess I could have come in this way, but I don't know. I don't like that way. I don't like coming in this way because it's just a traffic hassle. Now you can see here they got the signs for all of the artists. They have a concert hall up here, and they have event centers, and they have all kinds of stuff comes on here. And here's the back side of the Hollywood Casino sign. I wish they had this kind of sign over the road coming the other way, but they don't. So now we're going to come down here. I'm going to turn around. Thankfully, there's nobody coming. Here we go. I'm going to turn around. And you are about to see the main sign. There you go. See that? There's the Hollywood Casino sign. There you go. And this is their hotel on the right-hand side, the Inn at Charlestown. And if you have a card, if you have a casino card, and you spend enough money here, you'll get free rooms there. I've never gone in there. I'm sure it's a really nice hotel. Charlestown, you can pretty much tell how a place is run by how they clean their restrooms. And Charlestown has a crew of guys that do a wonderful job, and girls, that do a wonderful job of cleaning the restrooms. And they keep the place up. It's not a bunch of broken stuff here, you know. They keep the investment high. Boy, that daggone. Oh shit! I meant to show you this. So this is another bunch of parking here, and you can come down here and park. Now I'm going to show you. This is the horse racing track right here. This is pretty cool. I'm glad I came down this way. I'm going to get down here where I can show you this track. Now there's the grandstands. There's the grandstands. And here's the track. This is very cool. This is what actually got us coming up here when my dad wasn't a slots guy. My dad was a racetrack guy. And he was determined he was going to find that magic formula to win not all of the horse races he bet on, but to make a living off of it. And what he found out was that yes, you could raise your chances of winning by examining the statistics of horses, but the number one way you won at betting on horses was getting an inside line from the people who brought the horses to the track. And by talking to the old school bettors that were at the track, that you got to know, and you knew that they actually knew what the hell they were talking about. Because you always got bettors who have a system or brag about how good they are and they don't know jack. But you got other bettors who don't brag. The ones who just sit there and they've got their racing form out and they do their computations. And they're not talking to anybody. They're just trying to make the best bet possible to win the most amount of money. And my dad would befriend those kind of people. And he made a good amount of money off of that. And anyway, as far as I know, they still have horse racing here. As far as I know. And it's a nice place. It's just a damn nice place. Charlestown, West Virginia. This is the city of Ranson, and it's just a damn nice place to come to have an adult time and to be around people and to forget about the world. And it's just nice and completely different from MGM, completely different from Dover, completely different from Atlantic City, because in those places the exterior of the casino is kind of contaminated. Now what is this guy doing? Where is he going? Okay, well, he's actually going the way I want to go. Okay, so we're going over to the East Garage because that's where I've always parked. And I gotta say, even though I lost a crap load of money here, I'm glad this place existed. Because when my wife died, coming up here got my mind off of it. And I know, there was other ways I could have done it. And I could have gone on I could have done the Forrest Gump and gone on like a 6-month walking tour of the Appalachian Mountains. Oh, I wanted to bring you here. I'm gonna turn around. I'm gonna show you we're turning around, and I'm gonna bring you into where the valet is. Now this is, if you're gonna get a valet, this is where you come to. You come in here, and you can drop, if you have a wife who's well, I actually don't know if you can get down the ramp here though. But anyway, this is the main entrance in. You come in here, and I think you park here, and then the valet will come and get your car, and they'll park it for you. Obviously you have to tip. Looks like we got people coming in here, which is cool. A lot of people coming in the East Garage. I'm gonna let these two guys go. Come on, bring it on in. I'm not in a hurry. Ooh, woo! Damn, he just fits too. Damn, 6'10", he just fits. His antenna's hitting the bar. Doink! Watch. Blink! He just fits. Wow! Wow. I go all the way up. I always have. I got a certain spot I park, but I'll bet you that someone's going to be in my parking spot because I can't get lucky. And I always used to go around like this guy's going and make like a U-turn when I got in here, but I just stopped doing that because I don't park that way. Here we got somebody who's just contemplating. He's just sitting here chilling, relaxing. Oh, he got his wife's with him too. Okay. They're just chilling, talking. Looking out there, it's a beautiful day here in West Virginia. It's a beautiful day in Virginia. And they stopped the people parking here because, and the guy, I came out last time I was here, and the guy said, yeah, the reason they stop people parking up here is because when it gets rainy during the winter time and it gets icy. And instead of having people park here, they'll have them park under the parking garage, and they don't have any slip and fall injuries. They're a lot less, you know. I said, that's completely smart. It makes complete sense. So anyway, we're here, and I don't really feel like showing you where I'm going to park. But thank you for riding along. This is Charlestown. I'm going to go in here. I'm going to use my credits up. I'm going to start playing poker today, I think. I don't know. We'll have to see how it plays out. But thank you for riding with me. I hope you have a blessed day. God bless you. And we will see you on the next video. Peace.